Alan Roberts howled with pain as the sharp claws of the alien trill captain, Speaker, drew glistening red blood down his back. The crew's shocking discovery of a pristine ancient human supercarrier from a long-forgotten war made the alien scrappers' minds race with the potential fortune in rare human tech. But they needed the codes, and the only human aboard would talk. The grizzled ex-military engineer Alan was the sole human on the alien salvage ship, ridiculed daily by the insectoid and reptilian crew for the supposed backwardness of Earth's primitive machines. He toiled in the engine room of the rusting hulk, scavenging forgotten battlefields at the frayed edges of the galaxy. "They're reading an anomaly," gargled the bulbous-eyed pilot. "Orders, Captain Speaker?" The Trill's rainbow carapace shimmered as she studied the scanners. "Change heading, maximum cruise, I want a visual." The salvagers gaped at the kilometers-long metal behemoth drifting dead ahead. Spiker's compound eyes glittered with naked greed, but then narrowed as the scans resolved the derelict's silhouette against the starfield. "That configuration, it can't be. Get the human up here now," she screeched. Alan's eyes bulged as he drank in the sight of the dagger-shaped Titan. He recognized its angular, armored hull instantly from grainy historical NavNet footage. An Invictus-class fleet carrier, humanity's mightiest capital ship from an era before the collapse. A single relic whose secrets could shift the balance of power on 100 worlds, and he alone knew the command codes to unlock its still-powered systems. He had to keep those codes from Speaker, had to find a way to get the great ship into human hands, but there could be no mercy from the ambitious Trill privateer. She would pry those codes out of him, even if it killed him. The secrets of the supercarrier were all that stood between humanity and oblivion in the face of overwhelming alien numbers and technology. He would die if he failed this. He would die if he succeeded. But die he must, to awaken this slumbering giant and rekindle mankind's guttering flame. The salvage crew bustled around Alan, grabbing cutting torches and blast shields to breach the derelict supercarrier. He fought down a wave of nausea, knowing that the technological secrets within could irrevocably alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Weapons to make the mightiest fleets tremble, engines that could cross the vastness of space in heartbeats, wonders and terrors beyond imagining. The outer airlock cycled open, with a reluctant hiss, stale atmosphere venting into the void. Speaker shoved past Alan, her spindly limbs finding easy purchase on the corroded deck plates. Behind her, the flashlight beams of the boarding party danced through the gloom, briefly illuminating a cavernous space beyond. "Look at the size of this bay," Speaker breathed, "and those small craft. I've never seen such sleek designs." Row after row of angular black shapes were ranked before them, poised as if ready to launch into the abyss at a moment's notice. Fighters and bombers from a war that had faded into myth, their clean, predatory lines unmarred by the erosion of centuries. A chill ran up Alan's spine. "Spread out and dig up anything that looks valuable," Speaker ordered, her mandibles quivering with barely suppressed greed. "The bosses will want a full inventory." The crew scattered into the darkness, their excited chatter fading into the bowels of the ship. Alan paused for a moment, then turned and slipped away down a side passage. The carrier's bridge would hold the answers he sought. He had to know the truth about this ship. His heart hammered in his chest as he approached the armored hatch to the command deck, terrified that Speaker would discover his absence. The portal was sealed, but as he drew near, a seam of emerald light split its center. The panels parted with a whisper, and he stepped into the Titan's nerve center. Suddenly the compartment blazed with light. Holograms flared to life on every surface. A ghostly blue figure materialized before him, a featureless humanoid form. "Welcome, Captain," it said. "USS Titan stands ready. All systems nominal, awaiting your command." Alan gaped at the apparition, his mind reeling. The ship thought he was its commander. How was that possible? "Identify yourself," he managed to croak. "I am Saber, this vessel's strategic artificial battle response engine. I am programmed to obey your orders and to protect this ship and its crew with all the resources at my disposal." Alan's pulse quickened. An AI, a fully aware machine intelligence from the golden age of Earth's expansion. This changed everything. I need a full status report on the Titan's capabilities, Alan said, trying to keep his voice from shaking. USS Titan is a self-contained battle force, designed for extended strategic operations without resupply, Saber replied crisply. Offensive and defensive systems are rated at level Omega, utilizing technologies that were highly classified during the time of my last activation. The AI paused as if uncertain. Captain, my chronometer appears to be malfunctioning. It is registering a temporal anomaly of approximately 900 Earth years since I was last online. Please clarify. 9 centuries. The enormity of it staggered Alan. Titan had slept here for almost a millennium untouched by time. Saber, you've been dormant for a very long time. The war, humanity's war, is over. We lost. Earth is a backwater now, a client state to 100 alien races. But this ship, you, might be our only hope to level the playing field. I need to know everything about the Titan and its mission. The AI fell silent for a long moment, as if assessing Alan's words. When it spoke again, there was an edge of urgency in its synthetic voice. Captain, USS Titan was never intended to operate alone. We were part of a classified rapid response flotilla with a mandate to restore human supremacy in the event of a catastrophic defeat. Each of our ships was sent to a remote sector and ordered to wait in stasis until the activation codes were received. Activation codes? Alan whispered. The affirmative. Upon receipt of the proper codes, the Titan and her sisters were to reactivate and rendezvous at a pre-arranged set of coordinates. If those codes have been sent, then the crisis we were created to address must be at hand, and if the other dreadnoughts have also awoken. The AI's words sent an electrical tingle up Alan's spine. A fleet of ships like this, hidden until humanity's darkest hour. And that hour had come at last. Alan's mind raced as he struggled to process the implications of the AI's revelation. A hidden fleet of ships like the Titan, waiting to be awakened in humanity's darkest hour. It was almost too much to believe. Suddenly alarms blared throughout the ship, jolting him out of his thoughts. Red lights flashed on the bridge's consoles, and the AI's holographic form flickered with urgency. Captain, I'm detecting unauthorized access attempts in restricted areas of the ship, Saber reported, its voice tense. The Trill crew appears to be trying to breach our classified technology vaults. Alan's heart pounded. He couldn't let the ship's secrets fall into Speaker's greedy hands. The balance of power in the galaxy hung in the balance. Saber, seal off those areas immediately, he ordered, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through his veins. Guide me to the intruder's location. We can't let them steal anything. The AI complied, and a glowing path appeared on the bridge's floor, leading Alan out into the ship's labyrinthine corridors. He followed it at a run, his footsteps echoing in the empty halls. Meanwhile, deep within the Titan's bowels, Spiker and his crew had stumbled upon a massive vault door. Their scanners had detected an enormous concentration of energy and unknown materials behind it, and they knew they'd hit the jackpot. "Get this door open now," Spiker barked, his compound eyes glittering with avarice. "Whatever's in there, I want it." The Trill crew set to work, using their plasma cutters and hacking tools to try to breach the vault's defenses. They were so focused on their task that they didn't hear Alan's approach until he was right behind them. "Step away from that door," Alan growled, leveling a plasma rifle at Speaker's head. "This ship and everything on it belongs to Earth. You have no right to it." Speaker wheeled around, mandibles clicking in anger. "You're outnumbered and outgunned, human," he sneered. "This ship is mine now, and once I have its secrets, I'll be the most powerful being in the galaxy." A tense standoff ensued, with Alan's rifle trained on Speaker and the Trill crew's weapons pointed back at him. For a moment, no one moved. Then Speaker lunged forward, his claws slashing at Alan's face. Alan fired, the plasma bolt searing the Trill's exoskeleton, but Speaker kept coming. The rest of the crew opened fire, and the vault corridor erupted into a chaos of flashing energy beams and ricocheting shots. Alan dove for cover, the ship's automated defenses coming to life around him. Turrets emerged from the walls and ceiling, spitting deadly rays at the Trill boarders. Spicer's crew scattered, trying to find shelter from the onslaught. In the midst of the firefight, a stray shot hit the vault door's control panel, and it began to slide open with a grinding screech. Beyond it, row upon row of glowing capsules could be seen, each containing a piece of technology that could reshape the galaxy. Spicer let out a triumphant cackle and sprinted for the vault's opening, determined to claim its prizes. Alan fired at his back, but the Trill captain's armor absorbed the shots. Just as Spicer reached the threshold, another errant blast struck the corridor wall, rupturing a conduit. A geyser of sparks and smoke billowed out, and then a deafening alarm began to wail. "Warning!" Saber's voice boomed over the din. "Reactor core breach detected. Containment failure imminent. Estimated time to critical mass, 5 minutes. Alan's blood ran cold. If the reactor blew, it would vaporize the Titan and everyone aboard. He had to stop it, had to save the ship and its priceless cargo. He turned and sprinted back towards the bridge, Saber's urgent instructions guiding him through the smoke and chaos. Behind him, he could hear Spicer and his crew yelling in panic, torn between their greed and their survival instinct. There was no time to think, no time to plan. He had to trust the AI, trust the Titan's systems. Humanity's future depended on it. Narrator. Alan raced through the corridors of the USS Titan, the AI's urgent directions guiding his every step. The schematics flashed in his mind's eye, a dizzying maze of conduits and junctions leading to the heart of the wounded beast. "Captain, you must hurry," Saber urged, its synthetic voice echoing through the ship's intercom. "Reactor breach imminent. Estimated time to critical mass, 3 minutes. Alan gritted his teeth and pushed himself harder, his lungs burning with every ragged breath. He burst into the reactor control room, a cavernous space filled with pulsing machinery and flickering displays. The core pulsed with an angry red glow, the containment field barely holding back the fury of the atom. "Saber, walk me through it," Alan barked, his hands flying over the alien controls. The AI responded instantly, highlighting the key systems on the displays. Reroute power from the secondary capacitors to the containment field. Vent the excess plasma through the tertiary exhaust manifolds. Alan worked frantically, sweat dripping down his brow as he fought to bring the reactor under control. The ship shuddered around him, the deck plates buckling as the core strained against its bonds. "Reactor stability at 60%, Saber reported, a hint of relief creeping into its voice. "But, Captain, I must warn you, even if we succeed in preventing the breach, the damage is extensive. We will not be able to maintain power for long." Alan's mind raced, searching for a solution, and then, like a bolt from the blue, it hit him. "The jump drive," he whispered. "Saber, you said this ship has an experimental jump drive. Can we use it to get out of here?" The AI hesitated as if weighing the risks. "Affirmative, Captain. But the jump drive is untested and requires an immense amount of power. In our current state, attempting a jump could tear the ship apart." Alan's jaw tightened. He knew the risks, but what choice did they have? It was either take a chance on the jump drive or wait for the reactor to explode and take them all with it. "Do it," he ordered. "Divert all remaining power to the jump drive, plot a course for the nearest safe harbor, and engage on my mark." "Acknowledged," Saber replied, and the ship thrummed with a new kind of energy as the jump drive spooled up. In the corridors beyond, Spicer and his crew had abandoned their futile attempts to breach the vault. The klaxons and flashing warnings had finally penetrated their greed-fogged minds, and now they scrambled in a blind panic back towards their own ship. But it was too late. The docking clamps had engaged, the USS Titan's systems overriding the smaller craft's controls. They were trapped, caught like flies in the web of the great ship's jump field. The Titan shuddered, the metal of its ancient hull groaning like a dying beast, and then, with a blinding flash of light and a rush of displaced air, the ship vanished, leaving behind only a scorched patch of space and a few drifting motes of debris. For an eternity there was nothing. No sound, no light, no sensation of movement, And then, with a sickening lurch, reality reasserted itself, and the USS Titan burst back into existence in a distant corner of the galaxy. On the bridge, Alan stirred groggily, his head pounding from the jump. He hauled himself upright, blinking away the spots that danced in his vision. The bridge was a mess, the consoles dark and lifeless, the air thick with the stench of burnt insulation. But they were alive. Against all odds, the jump had worked. They had escaped the jaws of destruction, and now the Titan drifted in an unknown expanse of space, its reactor damaged but stable. Alan allowed himself a moment of relief, a brief respite in the eye of the storm, but as he surveyed the ruined bridge, his eyes fell upon a sight that sent a chill down his spine. Spiker and a handful of his trill crew, battered and dazed but very much alive, stared back at him from across the shattered deck. The jump had caught them too, dragging them along for the ride. For a long moment, the two groups simply stared at each other, the weight of their shared ordeal hanging heavy in the air. Spiker's claws flexed, his compound eyes glittering with a mixture of fear and anger. Alan's hand tightened on the grip of his rifle, the weapon suddenly feeling very inadequate in the face of the unknown. Narrator. And thus the USS Titan hung in the void, its crew locked in a tense standoff, two disparate groups thrown together by the tides of fate, facing an uncertain future in an uncharted corner of the galaxy. The secrets of the Titan, the hope it represented for humanity, the threats that lurked both within and without, all of it hung in the balance. And as Alan and Spiker stared each other down across the ravaged bridge, one thing became crystal clear. Their journey was far from over. It had only just begun. Narrator. As the USS Titan drifted through the uncharted expanse, the weight of their predicament settled heavily upon the survivors. Alan Roberts and Spiker, once bitter enemies, now found themselves forced to set aside their differences for the sake of their crews. The ship's resources dwindled with each passing day, and the damaged reactor core required constant attention. Alan and Spiker worked tirelessly, their hands raw and blistered from the endless repairs. The AI, Saber, proved invaluable during this time, guiding them through the complex maintenance procedures. During a brief respite, Alan sat hunched over a console, his eyes bleary from exhaustion. Saber's holographic form flickered to life beside him. "Captain," the AI said softly, "there is something you should know about the USS Titan's true purpose." Alan looked up, his brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" Sabre hesitated for a moment before continuing. The Titan was designed not merely as a mobile fortress, but as a seed ship. In the event of a catastrophic event on Earth, this vessel was meant to carry the legacy of human civilization to the stars. The AI's words hung heavy in the air. Alan felt a chill run down his spine as the enormity of their situation sank in. "The ship contains a vast library of human knowledge, technology, and culture," Sabre explained. "It also houses a gene bank, preserving the genetic material of thousands of Earth species." Alan leaned back in his chair, his mind reeling. The fate of humanity's legacy now rested squarely on his shoulders. He glanced across the bridge to where Spiker stood, hunched over a damaged console. The Trill captain met his gaze, and for a moment a flicker of understanding passed between them. As the days turned into weeks, tensions began to simmer among the survivors. The Trill crew grew restless, their loyalty to Spiker tested by the harsh conditions and dwindling hope of rescue. Spiker, his ambition still smouldering beneath the surface, saw an opportunity to seize control. He gathered his most loyal followers and staged a mutiny, storming the bridge in a violent confrontation. Alan and his supporters fought back, the cramped confines of the ship echoing with the sound of gunfire and the clash of metal on metal. The once pristine corridors of the Titan ran slick with blood as the two factions battled for supremacy. In the midst of the chaos, a new threat emerged. The ship's sensors detected an incoming fleet of unknown origin, their energy signatures unlike anything in the Titan's databases. Sabre's voice cut through the din of battle, urgent and alarmed. Captain, we have incoming hostiles. Their technology is advanced, and they are closing fast. Alan and Speaker, still locked in combat, froze at the AI's words. They looked at each other, the realization dawning that they faced a common enemy far greater than their own petty struggles. As the alien fleet closed in, the USS Titan shuddered under the impact of their opening salvo. The ship's shields held, but barely, the ancient technology straining under the onslaught. Alan and Spiker rallied their crews, putting aside their differences in the face of this new threat. They manned the Titan's weapon systems, firing back at the attacking ships with everything they had. The battle raged, the Titan's hull scorched and pitted by the relentless assault. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks, and the acrid smell of smoke filled the air. Despite their valiant efforts, it soon became clear that the Titan was outmatched. The alien fleet, vastly superior in numbers and technology, pressed their advantage, hammering the ship with a barrage of exotic weapons. Alan, his face grim, turned to Speaker. "We can't hold them off forever," he said, his voice raw, "but maybe we can give the others a chance to escape." Speaker, his compound eyes glinting in the flickering light, nodded slowly. "What do you have in mind?" Alan's gaze drifted to the reactor core, visible through the shattered viewport. "A last resort," he said quietly. "A way to take them with us." Spiker's mandibles twitched, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "The life pods," he said. "We can evacuate the crew and then—" Alan nodded, his jaw set with grim determination. "I'll stay behind, trigger the reactor overload manually. It should be enough to take out their fleet." The survivors, human and Trill alike, rushed to the life pods as the Titan shook and groaned under the unrelenting assault. Alan watched them go, a sad smile on his weathered face. He made his way to the reactor core, the ship's systems failing around him. With a final, desperate effort, he initiated the overload sequence, the reactor humming with a growing, ominous energy. In the void of space, the life pods streaked away from the dying ship. The survivors huddled together in the cramped confines. They watched in awe as the USS Titan, the last bastion of humanity's legacy, erupted in a blinding flash of light. The alien fleet, caught in the blast, vanished in a maelstrom of fire and debris. The USS Titan, its mission complete, disappeared forever, taking with it the secrets of the past and the hopes of the future. In the silence that followed, Speaker and the remaining survivors drifted through the void, their minds haunted by the sacrifice of Alan Roberts and the brave humans who had given their lives to protect them. They realized in that moment that the true strength of humanity lay not in their technology or their weapons, but in their indomitable spirit, their unwavering resolve to fight for what they believed in, no matter the odds. And as they floated through the endless expanse, the survivors knew that they had been forever changed by their encounter with the USS Titan and the man who had given everything to ensure that the legacy of Earth would endure, even in the face of oblivion. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.